She said she was at a work retreat. Then her best friend told me the truth. And that was just the beginning. My name is Ethan Blake. I'd been married to Lena for 8 years. 8 years of inside jokes, quiet mornings, travel plans that never quite happened, and a love I thought was real, until the knock on my door changed everything. It was too soft, too casual. The kind of knock that didn't match the silence I'd grown used to since Lena left for what she claimed was a team-building retreat. I had just made 2 cups of coffee, out of habit. Her mug went cold. Then I tossed it in the sink with an annoyed sigh. I wasn't in the mood for company. I opened the door expecting a neighbor or some mistaken delivery. Instead, Natalie was standing there. Lena's closest friend. Her face looked drained, like she'd been holding back for days. She walked in without asking, sat on the couch, rubbed her palms together, and stared at the floor before looking up at me with this haunted kind of expression. It wasn't pity. It was something heavier, something tangled. "Ethan," she said. The sound of my name made my stomach twist. "I have to tell you something." I didn't respond. I didn't trust myself to speak. "She's not at that retreat. She's not with coworkers." She paused like she needed strength just to finish. "She's in the city. With Jason." Jason. Her boss. First I laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was easier than believing her. Then Natalie held up her phone. I didn't need to take it. One glance was enough. It was Lena and Jason. In a booth at some dim-lit bar. His arm around her. Her hand suspiciously low on his thigh. Their faces. Those smiles weren't innocent. They weren't even discreet. They looked like people who had been getting away with something for a long time. I stopped breathing. Natalie kept talking, but it all sounded like static. I'd seen signs before, little inconsistencies. The new lingerie she thought I hadn't noticed, the offline weekends. The random tension that would appear out of nowhere. Every time I asked about her colleagues, she got evasive. Every disagreement ended with her storming out, needing space. Now I knew exactly where she went. "She told me she hasn't loved you in a long time," Natalie finally said. That should have destroyed me. But it didn't. Because deep down I knew she was lying. To herself, to Natalie, to me. I'd heard Lena lie before. Little white lies. Small omissions. Late replies. Dying phone batteries. Things you overlook because you trust someone. Because you want to trust them. But now the veil had dropped. And I saw everything clearly. Natalie stayed for a while. Maybe hoping for forgiveness or closure. She whispered, "I shouldn't have come," before quietly slipping out the door. I was left with nothing but the echo of what she said and 2 dogs who watched me like they understood more than they should. I stared at that empty coffee mug in the sink for what felt like hours. That night I didn't sleep. I sat in the living room with the lights off. The photo burned into my mind. Lena's smile. Jason's touch. Their world. One I clearly didn't belong to anymore. At 9 a.m. I heard her car in the driveway. Door slam. The step. Keys jingling. She was humming. Actually humming like she hadn't just detonated my life. She walked in with her phone in hand, texting, smiling. "Oh, hey babe," she called. "You won't believe." She stopped. Eyes met. I hadn't shaved. Still wore yesterday's clothes. But I was calm. "Hello. Where were you, Lena?" asked evenly. She blinked. "I told you. The retreat." "Stop lying." She hesitated. Then smiled, as if she thought she could spin her way out of it. "Natalie came by," I said. "She showed me the photo. You and Jason." Her face changed. But not into guilt, into irritation. "You're seriously going to believe her," she snapped. "She's been jealous of me for years." That was her defense. No denial. No apology. Just deflection. "How long has this been going on?" I asked. "I'm not doing this right now," she muttered and tried to walk past. Blocked her. "How long, Lena?" I shrugged. "A few months. Maybe more." No shame. No remorse. Then I asked the question I wasn't sure I wanted the answer to. "Did you ever love me?" She looked at me, and with all the cruelty of someone brushing lint off their jacket said, "I don't know, Ethan. Maybe I thought I did. Maybe I got bored. Does it really matter?" That's when something inside me cracked. Not loudly. Just a quiet internal fracture, like ice splitting beneath your feet. She walked upstairs like she was clocking out of a shift. "I'll pack my stuff by tomorrow," she called back emotionless. She didn't come down that night. But I heard her. Packing. Zippers. Closet doors. Moving through our bedroom like a guest folding clothes after a long trip. In the morning I heard her laughing. On the phone. She didn't even bother to hide it. "I'll be there by noon, babe. I'm just so glad it's over." I stood at the base of the stairs, frozen. That one sentence destroyed me more than the picture. More than the lies. I walked up. She was sitting on the bed. Still smiling. Still glowing. "You were listening to me," she said like I was the problem. "I heard you say you're glad it's over." "Yeah," she said, shrugging. "I am." I stared at her. My voice trembled. "I gave you everything. I supported you through everything. I stood by you when no one else did. And you what? Got bored." "I didn't ask you to do any of that," she said coldly. "You did it because you needed to feel important." That sentence broke the last thread holding me together. I left the room, shaking. But not from sadness. From restraint. By noon she was gone. No note. No closure. Just gone. 3 days passed. No text. No calls. Then on the 4th day, I got a message from her sister. "You should see Lena's Instagram." She was in Jason's arms, kissing her cheek. Caption: "Sometimes you have to stop pretending and start living." I stared at that photo until my eyes hurt. Start living. Had I been the death she needed to escape? What followed was the worst kind of grief. Quiet. Consuming. The kind that doesn't scream, it whispers. Every object in the house reminded me of her. Her perfume in the hallway. Her handwriting on a sticky note. Her toothbrush still in the holder. Then I found something I forgot we still had: location sharing. She wasn't in the city. She was 4 miles away. At his apartment. So I went. Not for drama. Not for revenge. But for truth. At 7:12 a.m., I knocked on the door to apartment 3B. Lena opened the door in the robe from our house. Her hair damp. Her eyes widened when she saw me. "What are you doing here?" "No hello." I pulled out the printed photo. "Figured since you went public, you wouldn't mind a copy." She stepped outside, closing the door behind her. Jason was inside. "You're being petty," she hissed. "No. Petty was pretending I was crazy every time I questioned your stories. Petty was using Natalie as a human shield. What do you want?" "I want the truth. Just once." He paused, then dropped the bomb. "I was going to leave you in January. The night of your sister's wedding. But then you surprised me with the trip to Italy. You look so happy. I didn't want to ruin it." I remembered that night. She cried when I gave her the tickets. She wasn't crying from joy. She was crying because she felt trapped. "I stopped loving you long before Jason," she added. "He just helped me stop pretending." I didn't argue. I didn't shout. I just stood there absorbing the truth. "You're not a bad guy, Ethan. You were just the wrong one." And then she closed the door. That was it. Years. Reduced to a shrug and a sentence. The worst part. Not the betrayal. Not the lies. But how long I defended them. How much of myself I gave to a version of her that never really existed. And still, the story wasn't over. 'Cause people talk. Stories spread. And soon I'd hear her version of things. The edited one. Where she was the brave soul chasing love. And I was the cold husband who didn't understand her. But this, my version, this is the truth. Quiet kind. The kind that scars.